I don't know about you all, but I feel like I could listen to that all day, every day. Yes, please. Welcome. Good morning. Happy Father's Day. And happy Juneteenth. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Buffalo. My name is Joan Montagnes, and I have the honor and the privilege of serving you, this congregation, as minister. Okay, the mic is not on. Hello. Did you hear me anyway? Okay, but we're gonna see if we can't get some little switch fixed here. All right. gonna keep shouting at you for a while. I'm gonna keep shouting at you. Welcome, everybody. It is good to be here together. We are blessed to meet in this space, and we acknowledge that the land upon which we meet is on the traditional territories of the Haudenosaunee people, original nations of this land who continue to struggle and call for justice and self-determination. Yes. No, thank you. Also in this church, we wear our masks over our nose and our mouth because we care for ourselves and each other, and we encourage everybody to go out and get those vaccines and those boosters and just make it all happen so we can knock this COVID thing out of the park, out of the universe. Just get rid of it. I know it's not going to happen. What is going on here? All right, that's a little better. What else have I got going on here? Well, the theme bulletin board is back. People are posting their blessings up there. Our theme is, what does it mean to be a people who celebrate blessings? If you want to celebrate your blessings with yourself and with others, you can post them on our theme-based bulletin board that's in the parish hall after the service. Enjoy everything that's written up there. It's kind of fun to look. If you're feeling down, it's a great place to look, and remember that, you know, you have a bunch of blessings too, because they'll remind you of all of yours. Blessings from our music ministry continue to rise up in an ever-flowing stream. Our music director, Jessie Downs, wanted me to let you know that her voice studio recital will be presenting their First Scenes program next Thursday, June 23, 7:30 in the sanctuary. It's going to be awesome. We invite you to see and hear our very own community members and friends perform scenes from beloved operas with costumes and stage lighting. Like, this is going to be a thing. So Thursday, 7:30, 23rd. I got a little announcement here. Y'all have this little shopping list in your orders of service. This is a good cause for the LGBTQAI community in Niagara Falls, our Pride crowd, the young people who need our support and need to know that they are loved, because sometimes that's hard. Go buy them a backpack worth of stuff so they can go to school and know that somebody cares for them. And now I've got an announcement from Fran. Where are you, Fran? There she is, right there. Come on up. Oh, look. Oops, on the ground.
Good morning, y'all. A lot of you, I am sure, have been in church when we have one of these services where somebody gets up. It might be making a stewardship announcement, or we had this wonderful service a while back when people talked about their ministry from the church, in the church, or some other time when people were telling you a little bit of their lives. And I'll bet, at least some of you sometimes, listen to that, and if it was somebody you already knew, you thought, wow, I never knew that about them, and you feel a little closer. Or maybe it was somebody you didn't know at all, and you think, I'd like to get to know that person better, because that's really interesting. Well, one of the best ways that we can really connect with each other is by telling each other the stories of our lives. And there's a small group of us who've been doing this, writing our memoirs for about 5 or 6 years. And earlier this year, we decided we want to share that. We want more people to have a chance to take part in that. So we started Cafe Odyssey. Has everybody at least heard of Cafe Odyssey? Okay, good. That's good. It's a good start. So we now have 2 new groups that are meeting a couple of times a month, and they're starting to share their stories. But we wanted to do more. We want to share the stories with everybody, give everybody a chance to hear other people's stories. So this Friday night, we have our very first Cafe Odyssey open house. And at that, 5 or 6 people, we're not sure of the final list yet, but at least that many people will get up and they will share 10-minute story from their lives. And all you have to do is listen and appreciate. And we'd love to have a nice audience for our people who are reading, and it might inspire some of you to want to be in a group like that yourself. So this Friday night, 7 o'clock, come down to Cafe Odyssey. We're going to have coffee and tea and some snacks. If people brought snacks, we got snacks. We got snacks. And hear the stories that people have to share that they're really looking forward to sharing with you. If you know you're coming, email Lisa and let her know. That gives us some idea of how many people will be here. But don't worry about it. If it comes to be Friday and you think, oh yeah, Cafe Odyssey, I meant to go to that, then just come. You don't have to, if you haven't registered, don't let that make you stay away. Because we'd really like to see you there. We're excited about this, and we think you will be too once you experience a little of it. So see you Friday night, I hope.
And now I'd like to make a very special announcement. Today we are celebrating a blessing, an anniversary. A member of our congregation has held the very same volunteer position for 40 years to this day. And I'm hoping there will be more. He has shown up Sunday after Sunday to do all the things we take for granted. If you were greeted at the door with a smile, he was there. If you received an order of service, he was there. If you plopped a gift in the offering plate, he was there. If you enjoy the candlelight in the sanctuary, he was there. If you have ever spoken from the pulpit and conveniently found a glass of water to your poor parched throat, he was there. If you have ever seen that the flowers might be a tad askew and then miraculously were perfect, he was there. If you have ever wondered how many people were in church on any given Sunday, he could give you the answer. I would like to welcome Thaddeus Bienick up to the sanctuary. Here's a token of our appreciation. It is a ruby red tie. I don't know if y'all know, but ruby is the color of 40-year anniversaries. And we are going to have a party after the service with the Bitter Nasties are going to be celebrating flower communion, and we've got cake and cookies and cupcakes and whatever for Thaddeus. So come on out and celebrate. And there are cards there for you as well. Okay, that's just too much fun. Now we're supposed to be here to worship, so let's do that. Deep breath in, everybody. Oh, I feel so centered. Okay.
Our call to worship this morning is by Mary Oliver. I had a dog who loved flowers. Briskly she went through the fields, yet paused for the honeysuckle or the rose, her dark head and her wet nose touching the face of every one, with its petals of silk, with its fragrance raising, into the air where the bees, their bodies heavy with pollen, hovered, and easily she adored every blossom. Not in the serious, careful way that we choose this blossom or that blossom, the way we praise or don't praise, the way we love or don't love, but the way we long to be, that happy in the heaven of earth, that wild, that loving. Come, let us worship, and I invite you to join us for our chalice lighting. We gather in loving community, inspiring one another to transform ourselves to create a more just and compassionate world.
Let's join in singing hymn number 207 out of your gray hymnal. Once upon a time, there was a castle named Camelot. And in the castle named Camelot, there was a king named Arthur. And King Arthur had a round table. And every night, he and all the knights of the land sat around the round table. And they would swear an oath to the king, the knights would. They'd swear an oath of chivalry, bravery, and loyalty. And then they'd have a big meal, and they were a merry bunch. Well, one evening, while all the knights were standing round the round table with the king, King Arthur stood and said, "I have had a vision. I have had a vision of a chalice. And not a simple chalice, but a flaming chalice, a chalice of the Holy Spirit. Indeed, it is the Holy Grail from which Jesus drank at the Last Supper. Whosoever brings this chalice, this Holy Grail, back to Camelot, he will be the wisest of all the knights of the Round Table." Well, of course, all of the knights wanted to be the wisest, and so they at once set out from Camelot to seek the Holy Grail. First, handsome Sir Lancelot went out of Camelot to seek the Holy Grail. Over hills and through the forest and into valleys he rode his trusty steed. During his quest, he managed to slay a dragon, but he did not find the Holy Grail, and because he was not the wisest of all the knights of the Round Table. Next, strong Sir Bedivere left Camelot to seek the Holy Grail. Over hills and through the forest and down in the valley he rode his trusty steed. During his quest, he managed to slay a giant, but he did not find the Holy Grail, for he was not the wisest of all the knights of the Round Table. Then came courageous Sir Tristan. He set out from Camelot to seek the Holy Grail. Over hills and through the forest and into the valleys he rode his trusty steed. During his quest, he managed to fall in love with a married princess, and their story ends in tears, but it's a different story. He did not find the Holy Grail, for he was not the wisest of all the knights of the Round Table. Finally, young Sir Percy set out of Camelot to find the Holy Grail. Over the hills and through the forest and into the valleys he rode his trusty steed. Finally, he came to a field of wildflowers. "Ho, there," he said to his horse, and lifted up the visor of his helmet, took a deep breath. Oh, black-eyed Susan's delphinium, Queen Anne's lace, and the colors, oh, the colors, every color of the rainbow there. He couldn't believe there was all of this life, just yearning for more life. And before he knew it, he was down in the flowers enjoying them. There were chrysanthemums and roses and snapdragons, all those other things you can think of. What's another flower? Hyacinth, orchids, scillas. They were all out there. Lilies of the valley. They were all out there. And he was rolling around in these flowers and enjoying, just loving and being wild, and a miraculous thing coming up for him. And when the initial ecstasy wore off and he was just lying there in mere bliss, he picked up a flower and looked into its cup and saw inside the golden pollen of a flame. And he understood, this is the chalice. This is the Holy Grail. This life, searching for more life. Well, it was just about dinner time, so he picked a little bouquet of flowers and tucked them in his scabbard and headed back to Camelot. He took his bouquet and put it in a vase and placed the vase in the middle of the Round Table. Well, all the other knights began to laugh. They had kept their oath of bravery, loyalty, chivalry. They had bested giants, taken home the heads of dragons, and fallen in true love. And what had Percy done? Just rolled around in the flowers. They were laughing at him. But then they saw King Arthur was gazing upon the flowers and smiling. And they realized that young Sir Percy had not only fulfilled his oath, but also fulfilled the quest for the Holy Grail, for he was the wisest of all the knights of the Round Table. You have to get, oh, Bridget's right. Sorry. I apologize. Is it okay?
Hi again. Good morning. So I'm just here, this is the last time you'll see me about this spring rescue that we're really successful in with our fundraising. And this week, everything is coming to us. We're not sharing the plate, we're keeping everything because we need it, okay? So please be as generous as you can. Last week, we raised $1,525. We're getting close. We're at 15,000 left from 61, and that's all I'm going to say. Thank you, guys.
To support our Share the Plate ministry, you can use PayPal by going to our website, www.buffalouu.org, and clicking on the blue Donate button. Or you can send a check by mail to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Buffalo, 695 Elmwood Avenue, Buffalo, New York, 14222. You can also arrange a regular automatic deposit with your bank. If yours is a gift to our Share the Plate ministry, please write share on the memo line, and it will be shared between us and us this week. If yours is a welcome gift to our congregation, please write Pledge 2022 on the memo line. Either way, please write UUCB on the most important line. And thank you for celebrating your blessings with pride and generosity.
Once upon a time in the city of Prague, in the land of Czechoslovakia, there was an enormous Unitarian church with over 3,000 members. And their minister was the Reverend Norbert Čapek. The Prague congregation was very sad and afraid. An evil wave of Nazi power was sweeping the land. Democracy was crumbling. People were taken away and never seen again. Families were torn apart. Violence ruled the streets, and the smell of war permeated the air. Reverend Norbert wanted to comfort his people. He wanted to do more than that. He wanted to give them hope, to fill them with goodness and truth. He wanted to help them reclaim their power, but he didn't know how. Well, I was thinking about all of this when one day he was walking through the countryside, and he was struck by the beauty of the wildflowers. Just on the side of the road there, the beautiful wildflowers. All the flowers that bloomed in glory and strength even during those evil days. He gazed upon the colors and smelled the sweet scent and understood that the holiness was there. It was life, simply yearning for more life. So he got this idea. He asked the congregation, bring a flower to church on Sunday. He said, bring flowers from your gardens, from the fields, from the roadsides. Bring in flowers. And when the people came to church, he invited each person to take a flower different from the one they brought. 3,000 people of different shapes and sorts and sizes brought flowers of every kind and color into their church. And during the service, each person took a flower different from the one they'd brought. They took it from the altar. A sharing of blooming, blossoming blessings. A communion of life that brought hope and strength to all. Reverend Norbert Čapek was a visionary minister. He served a church that was ahead of its time, a bold congregation that thought beyond what was to what could be, a church that actively served its community with inspiration, compassion, and daring creativity in very, very difficult conditions. That church in Prague was a church that was willing to take risks, willing to make tough decisions, willing to lead, willing to make mistakes, and willing to courageously, bravely, loyally face their fears and move ahead beyond disappointment to hope. That was Norbert Čapek's church. That was a congregation who lived in Prague. And for leading that congregation, preaching liberal messages of good faith and hope, the Gestapo arrested him in 1942. He was arrested, get this, he was arrested for the crime of listening to foreign broadcasts. And they sent him to Dachau, the concentration camp. But Reverend Norbert kept the faith. Even while he was starving and being tortured in the camp, he held flower communion ceremonies with his fellow prisoners, finding whatever flowers they could amongst the weeds. Together they testified to a beauty larger than themselves and a love that would outlive them. The Nazis killed Norbert Čapek, but the power of his ministry lives on. It lives on in all of us. And it is our task to continue his ministry and make it our own, in our own context. Our flower communion ceremony is not a historical reenactment of something that happened once upon a time. It is an affirmation of our continuity with generations of struggle for ever-widening liberty, ever-widening justice, ever-widening freedom. Something to think about, an ever-widening freedom. Something to think about on this Juneteenth weekend, just 4 weeks after the racist murders in our neighborhood. Make no mistake, an evil wave which threatens democracy, freedom, and life itself is sweeping across our land. This flower ceremony, lovely and joyful as it is, this flower ceremony isn't a diversion from the shootings or the decisions of the Supreme Court or the political polarities that threaten to destroy our nation. This flower communion, lovely and joyful as it is, isn't a diversion from the evil around us. This flower communion is a gentle ritual of courage, which proclaims that in the midst of sinister days, life will always yearn for more life. And while we live, we are called to be agents of an ever-widening liberty. We are here this morning not to recall something that happened once upon a time, but to remember something that is happening. We're here to reclaim our power and to make a heaven of this earth, wild and loving. And so we bless these flowers, these chalices of beauty, these holy grails of life yearning for more life, with the courageous words of Reverend Chapek. Infinite Spirit of life, we ask thy blessings on these messengers of fellowship and love. May they remind us, amid diversities of knowledge and of gifts, to be of one desire and affection and devotion to the transformative power of our shared vision. May they also remind us of the value of comradeship, of doing and sharing alike. May we cherish friendship as one of thy most precious gifts. May we not let the awareness of another's talents discourage us or sully relationships, but may we realize that whatever we can do, great or small, the efforts of us all are needed to do thy work in the world. Mindful that every one of these flowers is a messenger of fellowship and love. Each flower is the chalice and the flame. Each flower is the Holy Grail that contains the divine power. I invite you now to come forward and take a flower different from the one you brought to church this morning in a communion of hearts and lives. And if you didn't bring a flower to church this morning, come forward and take a flower anyway, because there's always room at our welcome table. Always room at the welcome table. I was trying to figure out, it's the miracle of leaves and what? I don't know, fishes isn't right. Anyway, let's join our hearts and minds. Again, in the words of Norbert Chapek, in a prayer, meditation, and reflection. In the spirit of time and tide and eternity, which implants the seeds in the seed, the future of the tree, and in us, the longing to live in love. In the name of all that is holy, in which we move and that makes us what we are, in the name of sages and great religious leaders who sacrificed their lives to hasten the coming of peace and justice, let us renew our resolution to be of one community, regardless of any kind of bar which estranges one from another. In this holy resolution, may we be strengthened, knowing that we are love's family, that one spirit, the spirit of love, unites us, and may we endeavor for a more perfect and more joyful life. Today, we specially hold in our hearts Paulette Notaro's sister-in-law, Marianne, who was in a terrible car crash on Friday. And now let us open our sanctuary of memory, carrying accountability and hope to the names of our loved ones suffering in sorrow and celebrating in joy, each name a breath and each breath a prayer. The breath of nature is upon us. The spirit of life is within us. The community of love is among us. So be it, blessed be, and let the church say, Amen. Let's join in singing hymn number 396. Oh, somewhere. Clearly, I don't have an order of service. Well, I wonder when we're going to sing this. Oh, I see what happened. We're going to have music on music. Let's put the hymn somewhere else then. After the music. Yeah, no, after the music and after the chalice lighting. We'll put the hymn in.
Fruitful
Please join us as we extinguish our chalice. As we extinguish the flame of this chalice, may we carry its light with us into the world in the power of peace, faith, justice, and love.
Now let's join in singing hymn number 396. I Know This Rose Will Open. It's in your gray hymnal. Mindful of our highest aspirations, bound by common faith and purpose, and beginning with yourselves exactly as you are, let us continue on our journey together. Let us move forward in our unending quest for ever widening dignity, liberty, and love. Remember, you are blessed. Remember, you are a blessing. And above all else, remember, you are not alone. You are never alone. So be it. Blessed be. And let the church say, Amen.